Hello and welcome to What Went Down, the boxing show where we take you back in time to those unforgettable nights, those iconic nights, those most amazing nights. And tonight, it's a man who was a world champion for 10 years. He retired undefeated in 46 fights. It's the pride of Wales, Mr. Joe Calzaghe. So many fantastic memories, so many memorable fights, and I'm delighted to say that Joe Calzaghe joins us now. Joe, welcome. Fantastic looking back at those two clips from those two memorable and fantastic fights.
Great memories, mate. Great memories. What can I say? Obviously, you know, Mikkel Kessler was the fight I wanted, a unification fight. Amazing, and to go to the States and obviously fight Hopkins, I say they probably were two of my biggest fights, mate. Two of my biggest fights.
We'll get to those fights, Joe, and we'll go through them in some detail. We'll be joined by people along the way as we go on a fantastic journey through your career and those two fights in particular. But it's been over 10 years since you took the gloves off, and it's been 10 fairly eventful years. Do you miss it, Joe? Do you miss the boxing?
Yes, you know, you do miss it, but I boxed since the age of 8 years old, 36, 37 years of age. You know, I achieved what I wanted to achieve, and it was time for me to quit. And I feel blessed that I finished boxing on my own terms, and injuries were always there, as you know, is documented. I suffered injuries, and it was frustrating a lot of the time. Also, I bet obviously for the promotion and Frank else, but you know what? It's great that finally, after all them years, WBO champion. You know, and the IBF champion that unified all the titles against a great fight like Mikkel Kessler.
Now, Joe, it seems like an eternity ago when you won that title. You looked like you were about 12 when you beat Chris Eubank that night. Have you ever sat down to watch that? Do you think about those fights? And when you look at yourself then, do you marvel at the man you are now and the young kid you were then?
Oh, it's crazy, you know, I think... You know, 10 years is a long time, you know, to be a world champion. So when I go back to 97, such a long time ago. But that was such a tough fight, you know. I boxed Chris Eubank, dropped him in the first round, and he went on to give me the hardest fight of my career as regards to, at that time, never done 12 rounds. I dropped Chris in the first 15 seconds. I thought, hey, it's going to be an easy night. And then he gave me a very, very tough fight. It was the most exhausted I've ever been in a fight, but I think it was the best experience I could have had and put me in good stead for the rest of my career.
After 10 years and after 20 defences and after a couple of years of trying to get the fight together, you finally got Mikkel Kessler in Cardiff at the Millennium Stadium. And I'm delighted to say that Mikkel now joins us. Now, Mikkel, thank you so much for finding the time to join us. Let's get straight to it. When you heard the fight had been made against Joe Calzaghe, what did you think, and what did you think of Joe Calzaghe?
It was my dream fight. The fight I've been waiting for. We had 2 belts each and undefeated. So it was the best fight ever to get for me. I remember we had it scheduled some months before. I think Joe got some injury or something. And then I just kept my shape going. And suddenly it was there. And I was very happy to be a part of it must be my biggest fight ever in my career.
Joe, you're sitting there in your living room and you're looking at Mikkel and you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. He looks like he's about a pound over the weight. He looks in fantastic nick, doesn't he? He's
in great nick. Because he's in great nick. I think there's about 2 stone advantage now, mate. So definitely different weight divisions now. Looking good, my friend.
I was down in Cardiff for that entire week, Mikkel, and you talked about a 13-week training camp in private, in secret. Was that true, or was that just the story that you told the journalists?
Like I said before, I can't remember what it was. Like Joe had an injury or what there was. They postponed the fight a couple of months, so I just kept going in my shape. I didn't want to go down, so I just kept on going. And I was very tired of training so hard. I remember, and I just was looking forward to the fight at the end. So it's true. I was in more than 13 weeks, I think for a training camp.
Now, there was a taster of what was going to come on the night when 50,500 people paid. There was a taster of that at the weigh-in, Mikkel. Were you slightly surprised by the turnout?
Yeah, I was. Joe, he was a tough guy. And I've never been in front of such a crowd against me just at the weigh-in. I can't remember how many people that were there. But it was a crazy experience for me to stand there finally on the biggest night of my life. So all those people just for the weigh-in, it was crazy to be there, and the blood was pumping, and I was ready for the next day.
And Joe, I suggest to you, and I was quite close to you at that time after the weigh-in, your blood was also pumping. You were ready to fight there and then that night.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. It was, I remember the weigh-in. I thought I was a big super middleweight, and seeing the size of Mikkel, and obviously in the head-to-head, I could see I was facing somebody that believed he was going to beat me. I could see in his eyes he believed he was going to win, and I could see he was champion against undefeated champion. And we showed that. We didn't back off. We had respect for each other. But I think in the fight, we fought a great fight. It was a technical fight as well, which I had to make it a bit of a technical fight afterwards. But it was a great fight, and what can I say, Mikkel, a great champion, and one of the proudest wins, if not proudest win, of my career.
Two undefeated world champions, but sometimes getting two undefeated world champions in the ring together is easier said than done. But Frank Warren, the man you saw in one of the pictures there, did manage to get it. Frank, if I could ask you, was this incredibly difficult to get together? It seemed to be talked about for at least 2 years before it was signed and sealed.
Was it difficult? Yes, it was to start with. Mogan Pally, who was Mikkel's promoter, and I, we went back many years, but eventually we managed to get it on. He wanted to do the fight in Denmark, and I wanted to do the fight in Wales, in Cardiff. And basically that was the negotiation. The reason I wanted it is because I always feel the home advantage is best for fighters. I felt that if we booked the Millennium Stadium, which we did, and we actually had 54,000 people in the venue, I felt that would be great for Joe, because I knew most of the crowd would be really behind him as the home fighter. And as Mikkel said, even at the weigh-in, he could feel how many people were supporting Joe. So for me, that was very important. But we had two fighters who were both undefeated. They were the best two super middleweights in the world, and this fight would determine who was the best out of the two of them. I think Joe, going into that, defended his title around 20 times. He'd been champion for 9 years, and as he said, there was 3 belts plus the Ring Magazine belt on the line, which was the BO, BC and WBA title. Joe had vacated the IBF after beating Jeff Lacey, so these were the best. This was the best fight in the best, and I thought set it all up for what was going to be one of the greatest fights I'd ever been involved with.
And was that not just because it turned into a great fight, but the fact that you had two unbeaten world champions, the #1 and the #2 in the world? Now, that's a fairly rare occurrence for all of those stars to align, Frank.
Well, it is, but we made it happen. Joe wanted the unification fight, and we made it happen. And it wasn't easy, but we got there, and it cost us a lot of money to get Mikkel to come to Cardiff. But that's what it was. That's what we made happen, and it was a tough fight. It was a tough fight for both of them. When that first bell went, watching that fight, it was just, for me, the first 4 rounds, Mikkel was winning the fight, and I thought it was interesting. When you look back at the computer stats, and they said they read that Joe had thrown 1,010 punches, and Mikkel had thrown 585 punches. They were the stats. But Joe had Joe's volume of punches was phenomenal. He had great hand speed. Mikkel's punches, I felt, were more deliberate and more heavier. But Joe threw, as I say, far more punches than Mikkel.
Frank, thank you very much. You have set it up perfectly. Next, we go back to the Millennium Stadium in 2007. Over 50,000 people. World titles, 2 unbeaten fighters. What a night. Welcome back to What Went Down. The best of the Kessler and Calzaghe fight is coming up, but now we introduce a man who was ringside on the night, BT's commentator, John Rawling. John, the first question I'm going to ask you is, you're inside a stadium, which is fairly common now, but to get 50,000 back then was good going. What was it like being actually on the ring apron with 50,000 people around you as it grew dark that night?
Well, it was an amazing night, and of course the roof of the stadium was shut, so that emphasised the noise of the crowd. Just absolutely pulsating atmosphere. It was in November, so there was no way they could have done it open air. It was a chilly sort of night, but there's a great, huge expectation of the Welsh crowd. And as a commentator at ringside, you know, I mean, we always look forward to something where you know you've got the best two fighters in the world. And we had the best two super middleweights that night.
John, you were in Cardiff all week. Now, Enzo, Calzaghe and Joe, they were confident. Kessler and his people, they were really confident. But as you sat down, even before the ring walk started, what was your gut feeling? What did you think would really happen once the first bell sounded?
I thought that Joe was going to win that fight. You know, I commentated when he beat Jeff Lacey prior to this, and that was just a phenomenal performance. And I think that was when people really woke up to just how good Joe Calzaghe was. But having seen them both during the week and having interviewed them both and been close to them both, it was very clear that Mikkel Kessler, who maybe physically was slightly the bigger man, he really did have that belief. I just had that feeling that this was going to be Joe's night. But it was the biggest night of his career. This was the one which was, in a way, going to be a career-defining night. Could he pull it off? If not, the hype and all his achievements to an extent would have been forgotten, because at the biggest test he would have failed. But I believed he was going to do it.
Thanks very much, John. You've set the scene perfectly, and it was a moving, dramatic scene. There were about 6,000 Danish fans there making an awful lot of noise. The roof was on and the sound was bouncing off it. Mikkel, you've suddenly come out now. There's over 50,000 people there. What are you thinking? What's going through your head?
You know, I just had this belief in me that I had to win this fight. I was thinking to myself, I'm the best, nobody can beat me, I'm unbeaten. I've seen Calzaghe before against also Jeff Lacey, as we talked about earlier. He had a great fight there, but I was just ready to fight there, you know. Nothing else, it was just fighting and remember what we have been training on and what to do with Joe. Only thought that went through me at that time.
And Joe, were you backstage watching this on a screen, or were you still in your dressing room relaxing?
I think I would have been just, you know, getting myself together, getting myself focused, walking behind. Obviously, you know, when Mikkel just got into the ring, feeling the atmosphere and thinking, I have to win this fight, because if I lose this fight, I'll never be able to show my face in Cardiff ever again.
That's not a joke.
I knew that Mike, but it's serious. But I knew Mikkel come to fight, like I said, you know, he was, I knew he was going to be my toughest fight. I knew, I trained so hard for that fight. It was in tremendous shape. And this was, to me, this was the icing on my cake as the super middleweight. So much was on this fight. And what can I say, you know, to fight the best of the super middleweight in the world at that time and put on a great fight, like I said, very proud. But I knew Mikkel would be very, very, very tough. Very tough. Great fighter.
You look both relaxed, but at the same time there, Joe, you look not on edge, but you look like you know just how important this is. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, my experience, being 10 years at the top, I've had big fights. Obviously, come off the Jeff Lacey fight, a few other fights. But, you know, the Mikkel Kessler fight is the fight I wanted. I remember watching Mikkel. I think I boxed in Copenhagen when Tyson fought against Brian Nielsen. I think Mikkel was on the undercard, and I watched him. I thought, maybe in a few years I'll be fighting this guy, and it turned out I did. So I saw him from a young age, seen his talent, and I knew the ability. But I was in great shape, I was in tremendous shape. Like I said, you know, fighting in front of my hometown, I prepared meticulously, and psychologically in my mind, I felt I was going to win. And like you said, I knew Mikkel felt he was going to win, but I just felt confident. And yes, it was nice to fight at home, of course. It's great to fight at home, but it also adds pressure. You could hear the Danes, you could hear the crowd. It was fantastic with the roof on. And wow, after all these years of hard work, this is what it's all about.
You're in the ring now. Buffer's in the centre of the ring. You're looking across at each other, and the ring is starting to empty. And you at this point, Joe, are you enjoying it? You've got three great men behind you. Your father, Frank Black, and Dean Powell. Three men you know, three men you trusted.
Yes, 3 men I trusted, yeah. You're just in the zone, you know, you just focus, you feel the crowd, you don't see anybody. If you see anybody outside the ring, then you're not focused enough. All I can see is Mikkel. I can see him looking at me, I can see he was in the zone. And like I said, all the work, all the 15, 16 weeks of hard training, this is it. You know, it all comes down on this one moment and this one fight.
And Mikkel,
exciting, very exciting, very exciting.
And Mikkel, how much weight did you put on overnight from the time you weighed in? How much weight did you used to put on at your peak?
I would pull around, if you say pounds, around 5 pounds or something. But at the same day when you fight, you will, because of the stress and you're nervous and being ready. I think I'm gonna lose everything again, like in the last 3 hours. But you know what? I have to say something, because when I stood there, where we see now, I remember one thing. When Buffer had to present me as the Viking warrior Mikkel Kessler, I could not hear him. I promise you, I could not hear him. So many fans were supported Joe Calzaghe, and I thought there's around 6,000 people from Denmark. Where are they now? I could not hear them. It was so crazy.
Mikkel, your fans were doing their best, I can assure you, because I kept noticing them, and they were really trying, but they were outgunned by nearly 50,000 British and Welsh fans.
Yeah, that's right. Weren't enough people over there. But you know, I didn't know when to raise my hands because I couldn't hear Michael Buffer saying my name.
Oh. So Joe, at this point, you're looking at him. He's not turning away. You know that even though you've been the world champion for 10 years, you know this is going to be a hard night's work. You know you're going to be at your best to beat him in front of those fans.
Oh, 100%. You know, certain defenses you can get away with not being 100%, but against Mikkel, I expected 100% Mikkel, hungry champion, and yes, I had to be just at my top of my game. And I prepared, like I said, meticulously. I trained. I was up running at 3 in the morning with my dad with the headlights. Yeah, I trained so hard, and like I said, I just knew I had to be at my best. But like a bit over the top. You can see I'm just charged him a little bit, and I think that's a bit of excitement, just wanting to start throwing punches and go to work.
He starts very fast, Mikkel. Did you think he would be that fast, and did you think he would start that fast?
Yes, I knew he was fast. I knew he would come with some fast punches. As I've watched him, his fights up to the fight, of course, many times. But I wanted to exchange punches with Joe, and it went actually very good when we exchanged. And then he just started to, you know, to do something else all the time, and that was the biggest trouble for me. Is like, now I'm going, everything is going good. My punches is coming in, you know, and I hit him like in the 4th round, as we see later on in the fight. And then he just, you know, he just started to be another fighter. And I hate that with him.
Joe, the one thing I've noticed here is that you're having to do a lot of movement, even by your standards, Joe. You're moving an awful lot. Is that because you can just sense that you're going to have to try different things against this guy?
Yeah, well, basically, I was hoping Mikkel would come to me, but I think Mikkel done the perfect plan. He was waiting there, waiting for me to fall in, and he was countering me, and I fell into that trap. So I think Mikkel was fighting a good fight. He was a bit more patient than myself. I've been trying to work, trying to get busy, but I was unable to. But Mikkel showed good footwork. I was being a bit too aggressive, I think, and I was allowing him to counter me with his footwork and make it a bit easier for him at the start of the fight. But at the beginning of the fight, like I said, you know, at the start, you're feeling each other out. You know, there's a lot of nervous energy. And I think the first couple of rounds, that's when you feel out opponents, and now, you know, you see the style and you see what works and what doesn't work. See, it wasn't working that good in the first 4 rounds for me.
But it's a really high-paced opening round, Mikkel. It's quality from the pair of you, nothing wasted.
No, that's right. You know, you go in and you try to see the opportunities. What is it coming with? Is it after the plan we made in the gym, or is it what is Joe gonna come with? You know. And now we started the first round's over. It's always difficult to go through the first round because you never know how the style. I never knew how Joe's style is because I never fought him before. I've seen a lot of videos, but that's not the same. So being in the ring with him, it's totally different.
And let me ask the pair of you this very quickly. So Joe, who won the first round?
I think it was a pretty touch and go round. I think, you know, it was a feeling out round. Maybe I'm a bit busier, Mikkel. But I mean, it's a close round. The first 4 rounds were close. First 6 rounds were close. First 7 rounds were close.
So Mikkel, it's round 3 and things are going very well for you. You're starting to relax.
Yeah, you know, I was feeling more comfortable after the first couple of rounds there. Of course, because I think it was in the second round, I can remember, but we were trading punches, and I was winning the trading, the trading punches part. So for me, it was good. But then just Joe, he was good at changing his style all the time. And of course, in this third round, he's putting a lot of pressure to me all the time. So I have to try to feel comfortable again all the time. He's punching, not that hard, but he's punching all the time.
And Joe, that's quite a sustained attack you got underway there. Had Enzo said to you in the corner, Joe, get out there and sparkle?
Yeah, I think so. He's just saying, you know, pick the work rate up a little bit, you know, be more aggressive, a bit more feints, a bit more movement, and that's what I was trying to do. I was just trying to put a bit more pressure on Mikkel because I felt Mikkel was comfortable in the first couple of rounds. So I was just trying to, you know, throw more punches, be more busy, and that's what I was trying to do, land more shots.
But for both of you at this point in round 3, it's clear that you're in with an exceptional fighter. Both of you must realise now this is going to be a hard fight. You first, Mikkel. Are you realising now this is going to be a long, hard night?
Oh yes, I knew that from the first round. And now when he put so much pressure on me in the third, I was thinking to myself, I knew this is going to take a 12-round fight. Of course, I was ready for it. I've been training hard for this fight all my life, if you can say that, because this was the biggest fight of my career. I wanted Joe, and Joe wanted me, so it couldn't be more beautiful for me. So I'm glad to be in there. But when you know it's when you see this pressure he's putting on me in the third round, I knew it's going to be a long and hard fight.
And Joe, they all seem to be landing perfectly. That was a lovely series of punches.
Yeah, I think I started to get my range because, like I said, the first 2 rounds, I didn't think I was busy. I think my dad kicked my ass after this second round, so I just tried to do more feints. That right hand, by the way, I just got caught. That right hand, I took it to my next fight, and that really hurt. That stayed with me, a punch there, right at the end of the round. I had a bad chest there for about 7 months. That's how hard Mikkel hit. So the next round is when I get caught on the chin. I think, whoa.
So we're going to go into the 4th round here. Now, in the corner, there's no panic from anybody, is there? Mikkel, you're not panicking at this point, are you? You're not panicking. It's what you expected.
Nope. Yeah, you're right. No panic at all. It's only the 3rd round. We have to see what slip. It was a slip.
Yeah, it was a slip.
It was a slip. Accidental. I didn't step on your foot. Well, accidentally, obviously I did, but accidentally.
Yeah, but...
I'll take it.
So here we go, round 4. Mikkel, talk me through the first 20, 30 seconds of this round.
You know, I was... because he put so much pressure on me in the 3rd round, I have to do something so I get in the fight again and put some pressure on him, make some hard punches, but he's so difficult to punch, as you see here. Joe is good, punching fast, holding, you know, changing his style all the time. But I have to put some more pressure, as you can see here. I have to put more pressure on him. So this is the best round in the fight, I think.
And Joe, you're getting the type of fight that you hadn't often had. A hard fight.
Yeah, exactly. And this is my worst round. That right hand buzzed me. Thank God I got a great chin. I'd never been knocked out in my life, or only done once before this fight, I think, or twice. So that buzzed me a little bit. But obviously my powers of recovery are excellent. But it was 2 big uppercuts. I think it's another one I got caught with as well that really rocked me. But like I said, you know, after this round, my dad really went to town on me. And to be honest, I didn't feel it was working, so I wanted to start using my jab a bit more after this and mix it up. But it's a good round for Mikkel, and yes, hit very hard.
Mikkel, it is a good round for you. You must have been enjoying yourself in there as we're in round 4 in the last 60 seconds.
Yeah, you know, I'm not thinking I'm enjoying myself, but yes, that was a very good round for me. I knew, when I went to my corner, I knew, okay, see, I caught him with 2 good uppercuts, as you can see, and I'm waiting. I'm gonna win this fight now. I just have to wait for the right moment, and then I think I can knock him out, you know, maybe in a couple of rounds. But then this Joe, he changed his style suddenly.
So, Joe, no panic from you, but he's caught you with a couple of really good shots.
Yes, like I said, the right uppercuts were solid, hard punches, and this was a bad round for me. And I think it's pretty evident to myself that after this round, you know, I need to get back to the drawing board, take that minute, and come back and do something different, because that wasn't working for me, especially in that round.
So in the next couple of rounds, you both have your moments. You both have some success. You both have some luck. But we're gonna move to round 8 as we move into the last few rounds. I'm going to ask you first, Mikkel, just quickly, how did you think the fight was going as we were going into round 8? I'll ask you first, Mikkel, and then you, Joe. Go on, Mikkel.
I knew at that time I had to do something to win the fight because of Joe's home advantage, of course, all the fans, and he's been changing his style for the last 4 rounds now, and I couldn't figure out what to do. You know, my trainer and me, we were discussing in the corner what to do, and I have to do this, and it wasn't working for me. So I wasn't that happy.
And Joe, what about you?
Yes, you know, like I said, after the 4th round, I remember speaking with Dad, and I thought, let's start boxing a few rounds, you know, because I was attacking a little bit too aggressive. I was falling into Mikkel's right hand, and so I had to move around, use my angles, my jab. I felt I was getting a lot of success with my jab. I thought Mikkel possibly was getting a little frustrated, and by the 8th round, I thought I would just edge in the fight. After the 8th round, I felt my boxing skill with my jab was confusing Mikkel. I think he was getting slightly frustrated, and I think I landed a sneaky little body shot somewhere in this round.
What you've done in this round, Joe, is you've made it a far more technical fight than it was perhaps in the first few rounds.
Yes, I did, and as you can see, I'm blocking that right uppercut, so I can see now that he's looking for that right uppercut, and now we're blocking that punch more. So instead, I got caught again, but yeah, Mikkel's very dangerous. When he lets his punches fly, like I said, punches hard, snappy punches, so I have to be a bit more wary, as you can see, using my defense and making sure I block them big shots, and then come back with my counter punches, as you can see.
And Mikkel, your corner telling you by about round 8 to just have a fight, to go at him, to let your hands go. Was there panic in your corner?
No, I don't think we were that panicking, but of course there was. I couldn't figure out Joe, so that's why I'm putting a lot of pressure and trying to open him so I can caught him with one good shot that can maybe turn the fight around. That was the main plan. He's always moving. He's always coming in and out and making different punches, and yeah, you see moving to the sides and and holding, and he's good at that time, Joe. Uh-oh. He hit me in the stomach there.
That was a good body shot. Referee!
Yeah.
Everybody at ringside getting extremely agitated there, Joe.
Yes, I felt caught Mikkel in the solar plexus and winded him a bit there. As you can see, he grabbed on, and you know, that's the only time I think I hurt Mikkel. So I wanted to sort of, you know, try and get some more punches out, and the referee jumped in, and Mikkel done right. He done a clever thing. He grabbed on, then he was fine. But it was a nice round for me. I felt good in that round. I felt I was getting into into a routine. I was using the jab. I thought my timing was well, and yeah, I was feeling pretty good.
That was a great round. In fact, Manny Stewart told me afterwards, this is what Manny Stewart told me afterwards, the great Manny Stewart. He said Mikkel Kessler was fighting a great fight. The problem was he was fighting Joe Calzaghe. Let's go to round 10. We've only got 3 rounds left. Let's go to round 10. It's the start of round 10.
Yeah, so mate, I'm just coming out using my jab. I'm feeling like I'm winning the fight now. I think I'm edging it, winning the fight by a few rounds. I'm just doing what I'm doing, just using my jab. You know, I'm getting successful at what I'm doing now. So I'm just trying to frustrate Mikkel. I'm trying to get Mikkel to lead so I can counter him. Also, I'm trying to work the body a bit. So I've been trying to switch the body shots after this slight success in the 8th. So yes, but obviously, like I said, Mikkel hits hard. He's there every second. He's dangerous every second. So I know I can't have no lack of concentration at all. So I'm really still cautious. I'm feeling good, but also I'm still wary of Mikkel. I know he's very, very dangerous at any time.
And Mikkel, at this point, your corner, Paddy Byrne and the rest of your corner are saying you've just got to fight him. But you can't be too reckless because he'll pick you off. So you've got to be quite smart with your attacks, Mikkel.
Yes, of course I have to. You know, I'm looking for the shot, the one shot all the time, and I have to open him. You know, but he's holding. He's making it difficult for me to get my boxing, my technical boxing going. I can't really open him. I'm trying all I can. I know I'm behind on points here, and I have to do something. You know, I have to trade punches, but I couldn't really, how do you say? I couldn't find the best time at that moment.
Now, Joe, even though at this point you're maybe a couple of rounds in front, it's been a ferocious pace.
It has, but as you can see, Mikkel fighting back now, but it's like none of the rounds were really clear-cut. You know, I was winning the fight, rounds were edged. You know, like I said, every single round, every single second, every single minute was highly competitive. And as you can see, you know, highly technical, you know, great boxing, you know, very proud. And like I said, every second you have to keep, he's coming at me with him right, looking for that. I know he's looking for that big right hand over the top. He's looking for that success with the right uppercut. So it was important for me to keep that distance, make sure I put my right foot on the outside of his foot, get that jab going. And then when he comes in, try and look for a combination.
So, Mikkel, it's close to the end of round 10. How tired are you feeling at this point?
I was very tired at that point. Of course, 10 hard rounds, a lot of punches, so I was tired. But still, I had more energy left, but it was a pace that I never tried that before in so many rounds.
And Joe, as Mikkel walked back to the corner there, it looked like his legs had stiffened. It looked like it was taking a toll on him.
Obviously, it's the 10th round. Every single second is highly competitive fight. But the thing is, obviously, with the home crowd, it helps. I felt I was winning the fight. So I think when you get to the 10th round, you know, it's, when you're tired, you know, you're nearly there. 6 more minutes. I just had to say, keep my composure, keep the boxing going, try not to lack concentration, and just get to the end and hopefully do a good job with the fight.
And here we are, the 12th and last round, 54,000 people, and Mikkel's got to go for it, and Joe, you've just got to survive to the final bell. Mikkel, what's going through your head here?
I know I'm behind on the points, and I'm so ready. I want to give it all. Actually, I think I won that round, the last round. I have to do everything I can to win the fight now. I have to knock Joe out on somehow. I'm just gonna give it all I got, and then and I can't do anything. And I can't do more than that.
And Joe, you must have been aware that that was what he was going to do in the last round. He was going to give it absolutely everything. 180 seconds non-stop aggression.
Oh yeah, 100%. I knew what was coming. You know, like I said, you know, it's all the belts on the line, and Mikkel would just be on the point. So I knew he'd come. I knew he'd come for me, looking for the knockout. So I had to obviously speak with Dad, you know, to prepare myself to use my boxing skills. Yeah, I got caught another good punch there, but I know just getting caught stealing punches. But I'm just trying to box, use my jab, and just get through the 12th round. And yeah, you know. Like I said, you know, I was just waiting. Like I said, you know, Mikkel's still looking for that right hand. He's dangerous, very, very dangerous. I'm just moving, trying to use my footwork, tying him up on the inside. Hey, you got to do what you got to do. So yeah, I was happy. I was moving around, and like I said, Mikkel got a second win in the 12th round because you know you can see he's looking for that big punch, and I didn't want to sort of get caught with some silly punches at the end of the fight.
Joe, it's nearly 2:30 in the morning. You're both exhausted, but Joe, is that crowd helping you? Are the 50-odd thousand fans of your fans helping you get across the line?
Yeah, 100%. You know, yeah, I can feel the crowd right through, so it's always an advantage, and but also it can be a lot of pressure as well. But you can feel the crowd and you hear the crowd, and it's you feel the atmosphere, and you know with the crowd if you're winning, if you're losing, or when you have a good round or a bad round. So. Like I said, I thought just get through the 12th round, you know, just box my way through, try to be box clever through this 12th round, and just try to stop Mikkel landing big shots.
And Mikkel, as the clock ticks down, you must have known in your heart of hearts that you were about to lose your 2 World Championship belts.
Yeah, you know, you were so frustrated. I actually probably knew that, but you never know, because sometimes I don't know what round it is. But I gave everything I got, you know, and the best man won that fight that night. So congratulations to Joe for that one, and
Thank you, Mikkel.
And thanks for the fight, Joe. It was perfect.
Thank you for taking the challenge and coming to Wales, and what can I say, a great champion, great warrior, and a great friend, and I'm so proud of that performance and that night. So thank you, Mikkel.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we go to the scorecards, a round of applause for two undefeated champions coming into the
You know what? Watching the two of you is quite incredible. You could sense the respect on the night, and I can sense the respect now, all these years later. Let's listen to Michael Buffer.
116, 112. Massimo Barrecchio, 116,
Dad.
112. All to the winner by unanimous decision. The fighting pride of Newbridge, Wales. Now the undisputed super middleweight champion of the world, Calzaghe.
So Joe, that was it. 21st defence, 10 years a champion. You'd beaten the only man out there, the only other great champion at your weight. What's going through your head in the ring right then?
Well, obviously, you know, it's hard after a fight. It's just tremendous feelings, hard to explain. You know, finally winning all the belts, you know, a great fight against Mikkel, 55,000. To me, that was I knew that would be my last fight at super middleweight. I struggled for many years to make the weight, and I knew that was near the end of my career. And you know, to win against Mikkel, that was everything. I don't think I could have achieved anything else as a super middleweight champion. Hence why I had to step up to light heavyweight after that and go to the States.
And Mikkel, you weren't finished with super middleweight. You managed to win the world title back, and you were involved in some great fights. Can I just ask you quickly, Mikkel, before we get rid of you, what's Mikkel Kessler up to now?
I'm still working, of course, not so much boxing. You know, some weightlifting, a little bit of running, and I teach people, some boxers. I have my own companies. We're making actually a TV traveling program, me and my family. I have 3 kids now, so it's very tough and good at the same way. And I still have contact to Joe Calzaghe, and we meet sometimes over a beer now instead of water. And so, you know, it's I'm having a great time. Thank you.
Mikkel, it's been a privilege to have you here. I mean that. It's been absolutely brilliant to have you with us. Thanks so much, Mikkel, for coming on, talking to us and watching that monumental night in Cardiff with us. Mikkel, thank you very much, and we'll speak to you soon. So, Joe, you've got all of the belts. You're finished with super middleweight. Now, before we move on to what went on, were you considering walking away at that point?
No. The answer is no, but the 2 things I was missing, Nasty, I wanted to go to light heavyweight for many years. And also, I had a dream. I wanted to go to the States. I felt that if I defended my title always in Britain, it would have been missing for me not going to America and fighting. That would have been something that I think I would have regretted. So I knew it was near the end of my career. I spoke to Dad to give myself 1 or 2 more fights. And yeah, and then obviously going to America and stepping up in weight and fighting one of the greatest middleweights of all time in Bernard Hopkins was a completely different test to Mikkel Kessler, but in other ways, just as much as a tough test.